This episode of Profiles in Risk is brought to you by InsurTech Connect Las Vegas. The legendary ITC is coming back to Vegas October 14 to 16 at the Mandalay Bay Casino. ITC is the largest InsurTech conference in the world by a long shot and the absolute cannot miss event of the year. We never miss it, neither should you. Register today using our discount code INSNerd200. Again, that's INSNerd200 and see you in Vegas, baby. And when you're there, look for me. I'm the guy with the red top hat and ask me for a magic trick. Hello and welcome to Profiles in Risk. This is your sleep-deprived and overly caffeinated host, Tony Cañas. Back from, I don't even know, we're recording on the first Tuesday after the end of the spring/summer conference season, which had me go to I don't know how many conferences from March 30th at PLRB in Indianapolis to last Friday, July, I want to say 11th, in Santa Monica, California at IBA Future Fest, and everywhere in between, coast to coast, significant time in Vegas, etc., etc., etc. I think I spent like 20 nights on at home in Atlanta, Georgia over the last 3 months. So it is nice to be done. And I slept an hour last night, and then I slept a 1 hour and a half flight back from Kansas City last night, and I am done. So very excited to be here. And today I have with me, that was my work email, which let me close that down. Perfect. Okay. I have with me today my guest, Michael Derkacz. Returning guest. So Michael was with us on episode 430. I included in the show notes. That was a career conversation. And now, here in episode 700 and something, he is here because he is leading business development at Ai.Law and Ai.Claims. Michael, how's it going? Thank you for joining us again.
Well, it's great to be back, Tony. Thank you for all that you do and bringing the focus into the insurance industry and having fun at the same time. So good to be back. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I certainly have fun. So your last appearance was a couple of years ago. So at that point, I had barely started playing with magic. I don't even know if I was calling myself a magician yet. Now I am a professionally trained magician, having a ton of fun with it, doing it mostly at insurance conferences. Just it's been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So you are, according to LinkedIn, based in Jersey City. So assuming you are in Jersey City right now, like literally right across the water from New York.
Let's call that a used to be. I'm in New Jersey, though. We'll keep it more general that way.
Okay, perfect. So in July, just about anywhere in Jersey, middle of July, July 15th, it's probably 90 and humid.
It can get hot and humid. We've had a weird spring and summer so far. It's been very cloudy and a lot of rain. So it hasn't been a great summer thus far. So maybe the second half will pick up. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
All right. So we always give the guest a chance to give the elevator pitch. What are Ai.Law, Ai.Law, and Ai.Claims? Great domain names, by the way.
And that's one of the things that attracted to me when I first heard about them. So I've only been involved with them about 3 months now. But the way I think about it is you might know the song, The Blues Had a Baby, and they called it rock and roll. Well, Ai.Law had a baby, and it's called Ai.Claims. So the initial focus of the company was all around using AI to draft litigation-related documentation. So think about filing a lawsuit, responding to a lawsuit, discovery, things of that nature. And there's even a very strong contract module. Based on that work, the founder of our company said there's applicability in insurance and claims. And that's the connection then to AI.Claims. I focus more on that claims side. What we do is very important. It's a single claim file application, right? The claims adjuster loads all of the claim files and documents for that single file. So we're not looking, this is not a data play, it's not big data, it's not predictive modeling, but we take that, we ingest it, and we generate the output as a really nice detailed claim analysis report. Part of it is summary in nature. It takes that data and summarizes it, but that's not the pure power of it. That's just information and data and transcription, right? That's not the powerful part. The powerful part is the second half of that report where it does analysis. What are your red flags? Where is there potential fraud? Well, is there leakage? How can you minimize that? Subrogation opportunity, right? Liability assessment. And then it really flips and starts helping the claims adjuster on the best next steps to handle that claim. So a lot of uses and applicability. We can go into more detail, but that's sort of the elevator pitch of the integration of the two companies. We were founded by an attorney. His MO is something that we all know. It's remove the drudgery, retain the value added work. So both of those solutions are not STP, right? It removes the drudgery, but the paralegal or associate is still involved reviewing the litigation documents. The claims adjuster is still in control, making the decisions on how to manage the claim. By taking that drudgery away, they now have the ability to focus on the claim strategy and the true customer needs. Your volume cut
I
out.
was literally going fantastic, fantastic. I'm not muted, right? Because very often I am muted right at this point. So there we go. Yes, I
I know
was.
you can edit that out. Okay.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
All right, all right. This makes sense. Let me start with a silly question first. Uh, why wouldn't I, with or without my company knowing, if I'm a claims adjuster, why wouldn't I just grab all the files, throw them on ChatGPT, and ask ChatGPT to do what you guys are doing?
So purely for the record, I did not feed you that question in advance. I don't want anyone to think this is a lob and okay. So guess what? I've heard that question before. And we can make so there's a couple answers to it, right? So you may on the litigation side of things, but there's a very famous case there, and here's what happened is right. Someone did exactly what you said, went to ChatGPT, used it to draft whatever they were drafting. But they made the cardinal sin. They did not check the documentation at all. So lots of hallucinations, right? And cardinal sin number two is the supervisor, whoever that might have been, also did not check it. And then guess what? It went to court, okay? And it was a disaster. But I was talking with a someone at an insurance firm this morning, and he said he has an even better example. And out in California, there was someone who was an expert witness in Gen AI, used it to draft his responses. He did not check it. And guess what? The judge dismissed it, did not allow that to the record. They lost the case, and then the firm was sued for malpractice. So can you imagine someone who's an expert in industry not even do? So to answer your question, give it a better answer, right? There's nothing to prevent it. But then you have all these problems that come with it.
So,
And especially newer hires, right?
mhm,
They're very dependent, younger generation, very dependent on technical aids, right? It's almost a requirement. And if you don't provide it an enterprise solution, litigation, claim,
precisely.
you're right, someone is going to go and do it, and you're opening yourself up to a world of hurt.
Yeah, but
So don't do that.
as I've said many, many times in this podcast, I do very little prep. Like the pre-conversation with the guest is literally like, hey, this is what the listenership looks like. Uh, and I haven't even looked at your website until we're about to get on the line, right? So in this case, the reason I prefaced it as a silly question is because uh, no chief of claims is considering letting you use ChatGPT. Okay. So the problem is that I guarantee your new employees, some of them are like number one, like they want to get rid of the drudge work. And number two, the biggest thing to know is if you don't provide them the right tool, some of them are going to be dumb enough
Well,
to.
exactly what I said. This is why you want an enterprise sanctioned solution to avoid that. But to answer your question a little bit further, right? And forget about what an employee might do. Let's talk about the output if you use ChatGPT, right? So there's versions of it, right? There's the free version, and you can get enterprise versions that come with more bells and whistles, right? Regardless of what you do, though, either of those options at ChatGPT, going to the internet, pulling information. And what happens when you do that is you're going to get, you might hear me mention this a couple times though, but a standard bell curve, right? Okay, that's good because it's drawing lots of information and it's coming to essentially an average. Okay. Well, I don't know what kind of world you live in, but I don't want my work output to be average. I want it to be the best. So the way our application works, and I should mention that it's patent pending, it's proprietary. We use Google Cloud, all their security protocol. We never see the data, right? All that great stuff, right? The way we work is we know what the output should look like. We know what best in class litigation documents are, and we know what best in class claims documentation is, right? Because we know that output, we get you the best answer. So now to answer your question a little bit further, think about all of your claims adjusters now across the organization, not in a bell curve when you think about your claim file review and you do some random samples and you get whatever. Now all of your adjusters are probably in the top 5 percentile, right? They're all rock stars. I expect Billy Idol any second or Gwen Stefani to come out like the commercial, right? But that's one of the powers of our litigation and our claims tools. Okay. So I hope that answered your question, but that's a
Fantastic.
great question.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So turn all of your adjusters into top adjusters. They now have superpowers,
Yep.
basically.
You
All
got
right.
it.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. Um, so single claim file. So I'm looking at my notes, the interesting parts. Single claim file.
Yep.
Uh, you went out of your way to specifically talk about this is not a big data play.
Yep.
This is not the clue report or its equivalent in the AI age. This is all about. So basically, if I understood correctly, it is making decisions or making analysis, creating analysis based on uh, only what's in the file and only approved resources. So I'm gonna say uh, LexisNexis, right? I don't know who you use,
Mm.
but basically, like it's something as powerful as ChatGPT. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that knows law and especially that has access only to this one claim file and approved legal resources in the style of what in my mind, having never ran a claims department, LexisNexis basically.
You're right. The single claim file, right? So you mentioned hallucinations before, right? Minimal hallucinations because it's not going to the internet. It's not doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the power of it, right? Is it's looking at that file and it's very easy for the adjuster to use. It's a click and drag, right? So again, this is to aid the adjuster. They pick what they want to click and drag, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're in control. They get that output, that analysis report, right? I talked about how it makes all of them rock stars in terms of handling claims. There's other uses for that report as well. I can give you a couple use cases. So um, you always have to get approvals. If it exceeds your threshold, you need to pass it to a manager, eventually up to the chief claims officer. Imagine how powerful it is. You don't have to write this thing anymore. It generates it. The person
Mm-hmm.
who gets that report can look at as much or as little of that information in order to make that approval or denial decision. Think about turnover in the industry. We're all concerned about aging,
Retirement.
retirement, right? So you have newer people coming on, less experienced. This helps them with that, right?
Newer people who every freaking week we read new articles about how kids in college right now and law school uh, are so freaking dependent on ChatGPT, right? And I can guarantee you that just like a kid who went to school using the kids that went to school using their iPhones had so okay, my generation, college 02 to 06, or elder millennial, we grew up with Facebook. It was very hard, impossible
Yep.
If you blocked Facebook in the work computer, we would use it in on our phones. If you did not give us a company alternative social network that is secure, we're going to have those conversations on public social networks, right? That was a hard thing for insurance to adjust to. Okay. Same exact story. The kids going to school right now in the last couple of years, whether that's undergrad or law school, ChatGPT and whatever other tools have become such a part. Sam Altman just described it a couple of weeks ago as older people over 40 are using ChatGPT as a Google replacement. Younger people are using ChatGPT as a life operating system. Okay.
Mhm.
So for a long time in my world, as a 42-year-old, my operating system is the combination of my iPhone and my Mac, right? Uh, for my brother who's in college and his generation of friends, uh, their operating system is ChatGPT.
Mhm.
They are not going to give it up when they enter the worker. You have to give them a proper alternative.
So it's a hiring tool. And if you don't have, again, an enterprise sanction one, you're gonna lose the brain drain from people retiring, but you're also not going to be able to hire and retain people, right?
Take it from the recruiter. Take it from the recruiter. Right now, the conversation that we have with our clients in 2025 is remote friendliness. If you are not remote friendly, we are much less likely to be willing to work that job for you.
Yep.
And we're one of the friendlier ones. Most other insurance recruiters won't touch it if it's not remote friendly because we can't fill it. I can totally see how in a few years, uh, another characteristic will be what is. I mean, the conversation of what is your tech stack like is already an important part of the interview process. And companies that are stuck in really old, crappy technology have a disadvantage in both recruiting and retention. I had never thought about it before, but now that I think about it, yes, I can absolutely see a world 3, 4, 5 years down the road, maybe less, where especially for roles like this, deep analysis type roles, the deep research type roles,
Mhm.
deep detail oriented type roles, I can totally see how in those types of roles, uh, what type of ChatGPT type system do you provide them with? And if you're doing it the old fashioned way, that it's going to be very hard to recruit for you.
Yep. If,
Uh,
if if you don't have something, they're not even going to come in your door. You're not
I
even gonna get the video interview.
I would agree with that.
Yep.
Um, all right, so it ingests it and generates a really nice detailed claim analysis report
Yep.
and a summary notion.
Yep.
Uh, advises the adjuster on the best next step. Okay, so before the advice piece, okay. So the summary that it generates, if I'm understanding correctly, again, having never worked, I did 2 years in claims, very basic claims. So I never lived in like the deep, hard claims, complex claims. Okay. But my understanding is that those adjusters, let's say litigated claims adjusters, large loss,
Mhm.
are complex commercial, whatever, are probably spending 50, 60, 70% of their time not in decision making, not in negotiating, which are the kind of the high value parts of the job, the value added parts of the job. They're probably spending 50, 60, 70% of their time in reading a lot of documents with notepad and summarizing all of that so that they can make a decision, right? So
Yep.
basically, you
It,
haven't.
it short circuits that entire
Uh,
process. It'll generate the report about a dozen different sections. And instead of reading dozens, hundreds of documents trying to find the information you want, it's all there and organized for you. So you get that content extracted, and then you get the analysis on the best next steps, right? It's really powerful. When I
so
saw it the first time, I almost fell out of my seat. I'm like, this
so
is the greatest thing since glass, the fire, Velcro. I don't know. Pick whatever you like.
so the advice on the next step. Okay.
Hmm?
So what is that? How does it come up with that advice? What is that advice based on?
So again, it's looking at all those documents you put in. And then it's saying, are there potential? So one of my favorite things, there's two sections that talk about potential. Potential documents missing, because it's not sure. it can say, this is what should be there. Here's something that was referenced maybe in another document, but's not there, right? So that potential, and then potential next steps, right? And the reason why that's powerful is because again, it's not STP, it's not straight through processing. It's giving you that analysis. So the claims adjuster still makes that decision, right? So so a couple of user cases I gave you already. We talked about how to improve the performance all to the top 5 percentile. One of the outputs on that report is what if you got a demand letter? Let's talk about what that means in the current world, right? So not every claim comes in with a demand letter. Most are from attorneys, not all of them are. But when you have a demand letter, someone put time and effort into it, and they have some expectations. And most of the time, it's coming from an attorney. Now, when an attorney files something, guess what? More attention, usually higher dollar amounts. They expect that response in maybe days or weeks. We take that information and you
And
can actually respond in hours or days as quick as you want.
perfect.
Think about yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to point out that depending on the state, there is what the heck is it called?
Bad faith.
Bad faith. There are bad faith deadlines that you have to worry about.
Yep.
So this
So
allows
we
you to
help
get
you with those scheduling
way
too. You
ahead of that.
never miss a deadline, right?
Perfect.
But so that's critical. But going back to what I was saying is when an attorney starts using AI, right? But when you have plaintiff attorney using it and you're not using an AI solution, you're disadvantaged.
Oh, severely.
If the plaintiff attorney hasn't used it, you're still now at an advantage when you're using AI.Claims, right? And that analysis for the demand letter pokes all the holes. Here, you've mentioned this, but that's not right. You've mentioned that, but that's not right. Your limit is up to this amount per your policy. So no, you can't even, right? All of this comes out so quick. And the attorneys on the other side are expecting to get a higher settlement. And when you knock them down, guess what? You get a better settlement. So that right there is a huge chunk of our value add that's quantifiable. Okay.
Okay.
It's a powerful tool, Tony. It really is.
Perfect. By the way, having you with your decades of experience in our world, tell me that's a powerful tool. Much more meaningful than the hundreds of founders that I get on telling me that they have powerful tools. Um, all right, so I'm very curious on the origin story. How did this thing? How did AI.Laws and AI.Claims come to exist?
Yep. So our founder is an attorney, successful attorney, his own law firm, right? And we all heard we all live the philosophy that technology is supposed to improve our lives and remove the drudgery. And guess what? That's what he said about doing with AI.Law. Okay. So when you think about the time it takes to draft claims related documents, again, doesn't matter if it's filing, responding, all the discovery stuff, right? Say that takes 20 or so hours to create that document. Most of it is the drudgery. We can tell you we will knock 18 hours off of that. And now you're spending the 2 hours on reviewing and your strategy and refining, right? Here's where it gets interesting for law firms and in-house general counsel. Well, more important for outside counsel, right? What do you do with all that extra time, right? Oh my God, I'm losing 18 billable hours.
Billable hours, yes.
No, no, no. What you do is now your work is more valuable for your client, right? You can actually do more cases. So say that you're an insurance carrier and you use multiple outside counsel. You know who I'm going to want to use? Someone who can handle more cases. So you get more volume that way, right? And if you really want to get into the numbers, I don't know, pick a number. Maybe they're billing out at $300 an hour. Multiply that by the 20, you get a number, right? If you're doing the same amount of work in 2 hours, your billable rate goes up exponentially, right? So this is a great way to look at it. one of the success stories that I had is a couple of weeks ago, I was speaking with a TPA, or a carrier rather, that really heavy into IT. And she loved what I was telling her. And even before, because I'm tight, but even before I could mention it, she said, "What is the impact to my defense counsel, my outside counsel?" And we went through it. And I said, "Here's how it's good for them too, and it's more value add for both of you guys, right?" So she got it. So there's a lot of success stories. I was talking with a chief claims officer at a large US based, some international business. Before I could even finish my sort of presentation to him, he asked for a demo, right?
Awesome.
This almost sells itself, right? When people know their business and how this works and the value, it's very powerful. So I could go on with more success stories. I want to go back to what you mentioned about ChatGPT a while ago, because like I said, I never heard that before. Working with a carrier. And guess what? Their IT folks and their AI product folks all said, why don't we just use ChatGPT? We've got the executive version, we pay for it. And I said, look, I can talk to you guys all day and I can tell you the output and I can show you a sample file and you can look at it. That's great. But you know what? Why would you believe me? What you're going to believe is your own eyes. So we did a compare. We signed an NDA. They gave us a claim file. We ran it. Takes however many minutes to run. Here's the output. They're still working on figuring out how to get the answers they want out of ChatGPT, right? So, yeah, have at it. You want to develop yourself, you want to use ChatGPT, it's not going to be this, right?
What is the implementation like? Does it need to plug into my claim system
You you
or
you asked one of the best things, right? It's cloud based. All we need to do is generate user IDs and passwords for you. So however many people you have, timed by how long it takes us to do that, they're up and running, right? So you can click and drag into our platform. We can do some API integrations if you want. That takes a little bit longer, but that's a great point, right? I think one of the things I'm learning, Tony, is the big carriers they want to develop all this AI functionality in-house for some reason. And I think there's two reasons for it. I think everybody got a little bit tired, I'll say. There's fatigue from big claim platform implementations that take
oh my God, yeah.
months and years. And I can
Years.
tell you from experience, 20, 40, $60 million. I've been there, I did it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can implement this in days or weeks. You get benefits in days or weeks. The business case speaks for itself. It's quick and easy implementation. And the real interesting thing about it is if you think about the process, the claims adjuster doesn't have to do anything different other than click and drag whatever they want to drag in. That's it. And then they get this beautiful output that improves that. So it's not like I have to learn as new what field and what page and oh my, what do I put in here? It's nothing like that. It's clean, it's quick, it's easy. If there's two words that come to your mind when you think about AI.Claims afterwards, it's useful and usable, right?
Fantastic.
Useful and usable.
Fantastic. So looking at the website, okay. Demand letter responses drafted by Advanced AI. Perfect. Cut cost by $6,292 per claim file. Reduce
Yep.
errors, best practice on every file. I like that. Best practice on every file.
Yep. So
Uh,
that goes back to what I was telling people become rock stars, your top 5 percentile. Think about your basically you standardize your claim file review. And I want to stress this is not about eliminating claims adjusters, but I've been the recipient of all of that claim file analysis and having to think about the bell curve and what it means. Think about you're now taking a lot of that off of your manager's plates, the claims managers for each line of business, for example. Maybe your QA department. You can reassign resources for better value add. So again, powerful. This is all about utility. How do you get more out of it?
Fantastic. Um, AI generated plaintiff demands are raising costs. not a surprise, especially with the lawyers using AI. And if I've learned anything about the how shall we call them, about the plaintiff bar,
Hmm.
especially the ones that who have made literally careers after going to through the going after insurance. Um, they invest. They invest in marketing. They invest in technology. They invest heavily. Um, so yes, I haven't had any of them on because right I serve the other side, but uh I'm sure they're using top of the line AI, no question about it, and they're not gonna, yeah, they don't nickel and dime. Uh,
No, and I said before, if you're not using it and they are, it's to your detriment.
oh my
You want to
God,
at least, level the playing field. And if an attorney is not using AI, again, the speed and the quality of the response will knock them out of the water. And those attorneys typically want a quick hit, they want a quick dollar amount. And when they start having to spend more time, guess what? The price goes down, right? Again, you save money.
makes sense, makes sense. Um, respond faster to demand letters. Reduce the workload. That's fantastic. Chief claims officers, either any chief claims officer that might be listening, either you know that your people are overwhelmed, or you're in denial, or you're too far away from the action. I guarantee you, your claims adjusters are overwhelmed. I get calls from them every day. The number one call I get on chatwithtony.com is how do I get out of claims? Every claims adjuster is overwhelmed. Give them the tools so that your claims adjusters are less overwhelmed. Also, discourage nuisance lawsuits by challenging inflated claims early. I love that idea, and it makes
Yeah.
sense. Yes, claims that maybe in the past we would have just paid because they were low value and they just weren't worth the time to fight them. All of a sudden, we might be able to fight them.
It's a lot
Uh,
easier, right? If you're not spending, say, 20 hours, you're
e-
spending
e-
2 hours because
exactly,
we've done the work for you.
exactly. The the
Yep.
the uh, the $5,000, $10,000 nuisance claim where they're counting on us just paying them to go away is not worth 20 hours to fight it. It
Yep.
might be worth an hour.
Yep. So
Uh,
you're right. People talk about leakage, but basically, leakage is paying more than you have to for a claim. Usually people think of a specific item, but if you're settling the claim because you're overwhelmed, that essentially goes to your leakage. I want to go back to what you're talking about the workload for a second, right?
oh,
So,
huge.
it's a hard, okay. Different companies, different line of business, short tail, long tail, depends on the product, a lot of different things. But typically, an adjuster is going to have, maybe junior adjusters a little bit less, but typically 100 to 125 claims at
I've
any
seen
time.
200, but yes,
So, but
100 to
that,
100 and
yeah,
some.
I saw a stat the other day. I don't remember the source, but that person was quoting 150, 200 claims. Now, I
I've
don't care how
heard
good
that
your
often.
memory is. I don't care how good your claim system is, how good you are putting notes in it. You cannot stay on top of 150, 200, anything.
Agreed.
100 is even a stretch. So again, the power of our tool to be able to extract that data, do the analysis, it's so powerful. It really is. People who
Agreed.
see it, it knocks them out of their seats.
1,000%. Identify and fight inflated claims and leakage. It automatically flags excessive treatment and inflated damages.
So let's
Uh,
touch on that for a second,
yeah,
right? When it's doing the analysis, think of a big file. It's got a big medical claim record, workers' comp, A&H, whatever it may be. We'll extract everything down to the single pill level and the cost that was charged, right? So, it's lengthy, it's big, but you can see it there very quickly, very easily over, months and years of treatments. That is one of the outputs on the report. It's all there for you in black and white. Use it as you need.
that that makes sense. Okay, it automatically flags uh, uh, evidence of comparative fault, so helping you limit liability. It automatically flags coverage issues and policy limitations and more. potential fraud indicators. It stops overpayments before they happen. All that makes sense to me.
All
Uh,
back to leakage. Yep. Your
um,
LAE. Yep.
Standardize the file reviews across your team. I think that's huge. Uh, it is so difficult and so expensive to audit those files.
Yep.
Any tools that can help us audit them in a fast, accurate, and reliable way is a giant win.
So out of
Give
all the business cases I think about, right? Again, the escalation, the retaining of employees, how to help with the learning curve, even the demand letter. My favorite is by far the ability to improve the performance of all adjusters to that 5%. And you hit on the key word in that statement right there is standardized. Because when different people look at claim files, guess what? They see different things. Different claims managers in different departments or even different QA peoples. I spent a lot of time trying to calibrate QA responses. You don't have to do that anymore. Here it is. This is the best way to handle this claim. You did those things, top 5%, rock star. That is by far my favorite functionality of this solution. Usable and useful.
usable and useful. Fantastic. Give you junior adjusters a major advantage, and this part, big, 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 big. Anything you can do for those junior adjusters to how do I put it?
Improve their performance, the output of their work. Yep.
Yes, and beyond that, anything that we can do to soften the blow of the departure by retirement of
Yep.
the very experienced adjuster force we have right now, and to make sure that that knowledge carries to the next generation, uh, is just as necessary. So yes.
Let me add on that a little bit, right? So
Mhm.
look, we've all been, new at one time or other in some sort of job, right? And I believe at heart, most people want to do a good job
Absolutely.
and good work product and, all that great stuff. But when you're new, you're a little skittish. You're a little nervous, right? Did I do this right? And what happens? You ask your neighbor, you ask your supervisor, you ask someone else, right? And that's wonderful, right? It builds relationships, it's knowledge transfer, it's sharing. That's great stuff. But you know what? That's never documented anywhere
So
in
true.
terms of the
So
work, right?
true.
And even if it takes 5 minutes, but you do that a few times a day or over the course of time, it all adds up, right? So this goes back to how do you handle 100, 150, 200 claims? And people are good natured. I want to help the new person, but wait, I got my 200 cases, my claims, right? So this helps eliminate that. And I'm not saying it replaces that. Again, this is just meant to augment, to help.
Fantastic, fantastic. Um, we have worked hard to accomplish 15% plus savings per claims file compared to traditional file review. Hours, not days, to complete reviews and respond to demands. Improve adjuster satisfaction, lower turnover, lower LAE by reducing reliance on outside accounts. So that's a great point. Uh, and stronger negotiating position when dealing with plaintiffs' counsel, fully compliant and secure to the core, SOC 52, so SOC 2 and all that. Uh, Fantastic. Design for claims leaders, adjusters and supervisors, subrogation teams and litigation managers. Uh, Free test case. Send us your hardest claim file. I love that. Fantastic.
I was going to bring that up. You beat me to it, Tony. I'm not surprised. You're a good interviewer. You've done this once or twice before,
Yes,
or
once or two.
700
Yes,
times.
exactly, exactly.
So
Fantastic.
let's talk about that
Yep.
for a little bit, right? Because like I said, I can talk about this product for a long time, right? And I even gave you a case where someone said, well, why don't we just use ChatGPT? And I said, look, we can talk all day. You can believe me, not believe me, but you're going to believe your own eyes, right? So we're in the process of doing that compare right now, right? We're going through it, right? Give us your biggest case. We internally we even phrase it, give us a monster, right? And that's going to do a couple things. One is you can test Do we have any capacity in terms of data limits, right? I can tell you we haven't hit anything yet that we can't, right? So size, right? That's one thing. But I also like to say, give us your toughest case. Give us a claim that's got a lot of documents, moving parts. It's been, hard to adjudicate. Give us that. And or, so you've got size, you've got difficulty. Give us something that is representational of the claims you handle. Because I can show you my test files and I can show you that, right? But nothing is more powerful than saying, hey, this is our policy number, this is our claim number, here's the adjuster, here's what, right? You don't have to think about how does it translate, right? It's exactly your documentation, and that's powerful. So some organizations are simple. It's just an NDA. Give us an NDA, give us the file. We'll sign the NDA, give us the file, we're off and running, right? Other organizations, larger carriers, I can tell you from personal experience, struggle with that sort of process. And it's not just as simple as an NDA. And I've had a really great guy at another big carrier who's coming up with creative ways to get around that sort of obstacle. And he's even, I'll use my term for it, not his, to help protect the innocent, right? But I call it dummy data, right? Create a dummy claim file, make it all up. It's not real, not going to hurt anybody, but then we can run that through and you can see it, and you don't have and it's for all good purposes, vendor management and technology and legal, and all need to be involved. But now it's not real data, it's not your real data, it's fictional, right? So there's creative ways to get around this. But one of the important takeaways, Tony, is when we talked about, the big AI that does the data play, we cover a lot of ground. We've talked about that. But at the same token, it's kind of a sniper or a laser approach. And that same executive that I was talking about with the dummy data, he said, I can see how we could use AI.Claims on the front end to help our adjusters adjudicate that claim. And now he's thinking about how does he layer in other AI solutions across the entire claim process that would augment what we do, including that data analysis, predictive analysis play, right? So I'll use my phrase, not his again, to protect him, but I think about it as putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And for every carrier, and I should stress, it can even be a TPA that does claim processing, right? Your needs might be different. So even if you think you're using AI now, somehow or other, contact me. Let's talk about how we can put those pieces of the puzzle together. Maybe we can. Maybe we can. Why would you want to miss out on an opportunity?
Fantastic. Michael, a great episode. Thank you for coming back on the show. I always love having podcast alumni back.